Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Flash and Dash podcast. Thank you for joining us. I am Flash, and with me, as always, every week is Dash. What's up?
Yo, what's good?
And joining us today, we've got a special member here of our Sports Gaming Anonymous crew. Cee is with us tonight. What's up?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
How y'all doing? How y'all fellas feeling?
Pretty damn good.
Cool.
Good, man. I'm living the dream.
Good. We're able to
Considering, conditions.
all things considered, correct. Any what y'all got on your plate? Anything fun gaming wise going on with y'all?
I actually was just playing this game called The Long Dark.
Never
Oh, I
heard.
saw that. I definitely saw some gameplay and I always wanted to start it. But how is it?
Bro, it's kind of lit because it's like you got to figure everything out. The only thing I didn't like, of course, y'all know I'm not really that cool with first person, but this game was pretty different to me. It's a survival game. It's not necessarily survival horror. Basically, your plane crashes, in a really cold climate, and you basically just have to survive. And there's not really a point to the game except for to survive and to see how long you can survive. So it just keeps going. So the time passes. A minute in the game is about 5 minutes in real life. I'm sorry, about 5 seconds in real life.
Okay.
And so, you have things that happen. You got to build a fire, and then you can see how long the fire is lasting. And sometimes a gust of wind will cut the time off on the fire. So you'll have a fire that's set up to run for like 2 hours.
Jesus
and then
Christ.
it'll get really windy outside. And then you'll see the fire die down, and you look at it, it says 15 minutes over. You're like, oh, shit. And then,
Wow.
you got to do everything. You got to feed yourself. You get hurt. There's different ailments. There's burns. You can sprain your ankle. You can break your ankle. I had a burn on my hand, and I was trying to tend to the burn on my hand, but I didn't have anything to treat it. So it takes like a chunk of your health, and it's like you can't get this stuff back until you heal your ailments. Some ailments, like I had a sprained ankle. The sprained ankle healed when I went to sleep. You can only sleep
Makes
for limited times because you've got your temperature you've got to keep track of. You've got the food, drink, and then the fourth stat. I'm trying to remember. Can't remember. Probably not that important, but it was important. I just can't remember off the top. Like I just started playing it like a couple hours before we started this. So, like overall, it's crazy. So
Okay.
I got really into it for a game I was playing for about 2 hours.
Nice. Anything? What about you, Dash?
I haven't been playing too much. I think I started a simulation, not even a simulation. I restarted up an association on 2K.
Boo.
Did a little, wow. Did a little fancy draft. Missed
Sorry.
sports too much, apparently. But I did that, played a little bit of it, but then the IGN live event popped off.
Right.
Definitely just dove right into that and all the data and the mining that came with that.
Right.
Trying to get and collect that information to see what was coming in regards to Sony and what they had to offer this upcoming holiday and
Okay.
the next gen, which we'll get ready to talk about here too.
Yes, we are. I mean,
Hey,
me, I've been hitting the fighting games heavy. A lot of Tekken 7 right now, and Cee's been ducking me, but a lot of Tekken 7. I've been, I got clips out there. I'm sure y'all seen it at SGA Flash. I'm sure y'all seen that on Twitter. And I mean, I see the face, but
had to make it super clear.
Ducking is ducking either way, however way you want to, slice it. But anyway, let's get into it. So today's show, we're going to pretty much dedicate primarily to the PlayStation 5 reveal event that took place. So let's, we got games. We got a good chunk of games, roughly around 24 games we got revealed. A lot of them are just teaser trailer stuff, no real game. A few of the games you got actual gameplay. We've got the design of the console finally, no price, no date. Obviously, I don't think anybody was really expecting that.
No.
They dropped the look of some fancy accessories, a charging station, the headphones, camera, media remote, all that fun stuff. And in a big surprise, they also showed, that they were going to be releasing a digital version of the console to go along with it. But before we get into the hardware itself, let's talk about these games. So I'm, as a resident Sony basher, for lack of a better term, here's the thing. As a gamer, I have my, spiffs with these companies where obviously primarily I have my Xbox and I have my Switch. Everybody knows that. That's no secret to this point. I've had a PS4, I think twice. It's not to say I didn't have it. I've owned it, so I have the right to bash it as I feel necessary. So these games, first of all, they led off with Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was beautiful and a perfect way to kind of open up your event, because I don't think anybody was expecting a new Spider-Man game this soon, especially to release alongside the console.
It looks good.
It looks good, yeah, sure. Here's the thing. Aside from that, we've got, I'll run through a slight list of some of these things where, we got stuff like Gran Turismo 7. You got a new Horizon game, Horizon Forbidden West. We got a new Ratchet and Clank. We've got a Sackboy game for whoever wants that. I don't.
I'll play that in the bathroom, man.
Yeah. Returnal, which looks good. Returnal looks, we've talked about it before, but it looks very much like a Mass Effect type style of game where I don't know what it is about.
It looks interesting.
Time loop stuff that is now like gotten real popular all of a sudden. But the character's like stuck in a time loop, and like every time she crashes and dies, she comes back, and like the world is a little bit different, and it looks dope. I'm not gonna lie, it looks very interesting. It is one of the, looks like into like 7 or so titles that are going to be full exclusive to the PS5, which is Astro's Playroom, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon, Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, Returnal, and Sackboy. Now, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are unconfirmed exclusives, which I don't know what that means exactly, which it may or may not end up being exclusive. I feel like Deathloop won't be, because it's Bethesda, and Bethesda is generally not a company that ties themselves to one console.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a multi-platform title.
Yeah, so I can't see where that won't end up being a multi-plat title. Now they've got timed exclusive, which, bear with me with some of these games, please. Bug Snacks. God. And I can't believe people are actually excited about this.
That was the hardest eye roll of all time.
Godfall, which looks dope. Goodbye Volcano High, Jet, Kena, Little Devil Inside, New Oddworld, Project Atheist, Solar Ash, and Stray. Stray kind of looks dope. I don't know. It's like a stray cat in like this robot world. Kind of looks interesting. I don't know. Whatever. It's not a reason to buy a console.
Right.
Game Pass, baby.
Exactly. And you've got your standard multi-platform games, 2K21, Pragmata, Resident Evil 8, which, Hitman 3, which I was excited about. But obviously, that's not an exclusive title. That's going to be coming on Xbox. So
Pragmata looked pretty good, too.
Yeah, it did. And, of course, we're getting, like I told you, remember I told you, Dash, that GTA 5 remastered for new consoles. I told you. This is what Rockstar does.
They stretching the hell out of that game.
This is what Rockstar does.
Begging for a GTA 6, and they was like,
they was like, no dice. Come back for more GTA 5, please.
You know what, though? It's still going to sell like crazy.
Oh, of course. It's Grand Theft Auto. It's going to sell no matter what.
That's the killer right there.
So here's the thing. Aside from a few of these games, Spider-Man and Horizon,
for the record, Spider-Man's an expansion pack. It's not. It's
That's also true. Let's talk about that.
Technically not a full title.
It is a standalone game, but from what I'm to understand, because I didn't play the original Spider-Man, because that was after I had gotten rid of my PS4 the second time. The original Spider-Man game has a direct sequel coming. It's not, from what I'm to understand, the way it ended, it has more to the Peter Parker story. So the Miles Morales storyline has always been in a different timeline to Peter Parker anyway. It's, it's the Amazing Spider-Man kind of Ultimate Spider-Man storyline, which is a separate. So this is going to be just a standalone game, but, in that same Spider-Man universe. So they get to employ the same mechanics that they had in the original Spider-Man game that are people going to buy it. So it's not a direct sequel, but still a new Spider-Man. Most people prefer this because we've been beaten over the head with Peter Parker to death. So a lot of people like the Miles Morales character. Obviously, it's an ethnic character. It's an ethnic character. It's a lot more hip, if you will. It's a lot more fun. That Into the Spider-Verse movie is arguably the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
I wouldn't argue with you about that one. That movie lit.
I mean, like I said, Homecoming and Far From Home are great, but Into the Spider-Verse, that legitimately has a case for being the best Spider-Man movie. It's first of all, let's not even talk about the fact that it's way better than the Tobey Maguire movies.
Yo, what's everybody's fascination with Tobey Maguire?
It's funny because if you look back and rewatch those movies now, you realize how terrible Tobey Maguire was despite us trying to play Peter Parker.
I've seen those again recently. I need to do that.
They don't hold up. They don't hold up. No, they don't hold up well.
Because I loved it back in the day.
Especially now with Tom Holland as Spider-Man, it's okay, yes, he looks young. He is young. Tobey Maguire was 30 years old trying to play Spider-Man.
37.
Spider-Man's supposed to be a teenager, man. Tobey was pretty damn old.
Yeah, he looked old. It was this is not. And
even when they tried to give him the revamp and made him look buff, he just looked old. And
it does not hold up well. So,
yikes.
Okay, so here's the thing. As far as new IPs go, because Sony people always told and again, I'm going to do my best to be impartial. I'm going to try my hardest.
Nah, fuck that. Speak your mind, player.
Sony go hards always told the flag for exclusives, right? And that's fair. But when it comes to this, if this was an Xbox event and they were as a matter of fact, that last Inside Xbox again, which I did rip, it really just showed random new games. There wasn't here's the next this, here's the next this. It was just kind of a bunch of new or random IPs that we had never really seen before. And they just threw that out, aside from Assassin's Creed, obviously, whatever. But which they ain't show no gameplay. But anyway, I digress. We're getting just the titles on this list that they revealed here. Most of it, I watched the entire show live. It was almost a snore fest for me because I'm they got out the gate hot. Oh shit, Spider-Man, dope. And then from there, it was just Gran Turismo 7. I'm okay, who's checking for Gran Turismo? I thought Forza killed Gran Turismo. I didn't even know they would think about making any more Gran Turismo.
I did not expect Gran Turismo.
They still exist?
I was y'all still doing Gran Turismo? I guess you have to. I mean, I guess there's still an audience.
The car simulator, I guess.
I guess. But Forza Motorsport killed Gran Turismo a long time ago. So bring it back if you want to. But whatever. But I'm okay, we're getting a new Ratchet and Clank. I'm here's my problem. My other problem with this is that there are way too many family-friendly games on this list. For a console that's not – this is not Nintendo, okay? I'm not expecting, a list of games that are family – PlayStation and Xbox aren't at their core and at their foundation, they weren't designed to be family-friendly consoles. They just weren't. They threw a game or two at you that was family-friendly, okay, whatever. But that wasn't their purpose. And Microsoft has really strayed away from that because the 360, they gave us a lot of family-friendly. They were just throwing family-friendly stuff just to be out, the cameo and all this random stuff they just threw at you. You've noticed that with the Xbox One, they've kind of strayed slightly from overly doing that.
And they
like
supplemented with a lot of indie games.
Indie games have been their go-to for that. But like, I'm looking at this list of all these games, and I'm like, Ratchet and Clank, Sackboy, Astro's Playroom, Bug Snags. I'm like, yo, y'all want to fall back on all the Is this a console for kids or adults?
In my opinion, because I took a little time to think about that, and in my opinion, what I'm realizing is the PlayStation 4 has been around for almost a decade at this point. Yeah. Like, it's getting there. And so I think what Sony is realizing is, as they're introducing a new console, that they're introducing it to an entire new generation of kids. So a lot of these kids this is a new thing for a lot of, like I got small kids. My kids are, my younger two, they're 1 and 3. So for these kids, Sony has to sell these kids. The kids that are 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, like, when it gets into that generation, they're already sold on PlayStation.
Right.
That's already happening for them. So I think what Sony was attempting to do was attempting to contend with Nintendo on the family-friendly games, and they're trying to pull in that market, in my opinion.
I guess.
I think Xbox is kind of going in a totally different direction.
And here's the thing, and this is why this new generation, which Nintendo started this trend already years ago, but
yeah.
Sony and Microsoft once Nintendo definitively pulled out of the HD console war, it just became Microsoft and Sony in that particular battle.
Yeah.
But I think as we go into this next generation, as I've mentioned before, and I forget where I saw it, but somebody had it worded very, very appropriately, where Sony and Microsoft are not in a console war anymore. They're now racing in different directions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which makes sense because, as I've said before, these companies are now targeting different ideals. Sony is still toting, we're games and the console and clear-cut breaks in generations. The next one, you need buy the console, get the new games, buy these 5 games for our system because these are our 5 big titles.
Yeah.
And Microsoft is get Game Pass.
yeah.
Get Game Pass.
They're trying to sell subscriptions at the end of the day.
Get Game Pass. Play it on your Xbox One. Play it on the previous generation Xbox. Play it on the new generation. Play it on your PC. Play it on your tablet. Play it on your phone. Play it on your laptop, and integrate it all together. You could do it and transfer seamlessly between each point.
Yeah.
They've moved in that direction, and nobody's going to compete with them in that direction because Stadia is trash, and I don't think Amazon has the foundation to jump into this game right now. They're going to, but I don't think they're going to succeed because Microsoft has been doing this, and they've been laying this foundation for 10 years now. They've been sowing the
They're slowly working everybody into the subscription.
Exactly. And let me tell you what, it's working. It's working, and it's funny.
$10.
It's funny you mentioned games with gold.
Added Game Pass, and Game Pass was separate.
Right. It's funny you mentioned games with gold because I had a thought the other day, and I realized that I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but since Game Pass became a thing and then picked up steam and got popular, the games on the games that have been offered on Games with Gold are trash now.
I haven't even looked at Games with Gold.
Every time it pops up, I'm like, what are these games?
Okay. A lot of times, I'll click to buy them just so that I own them, but I won't install them. I'm like, I don't want to come back around to this. Let me just, you know what I'm saying?
You're like, okay. What? It's so bad that the best game out of the group is always like the original Xbox game, not the, not the other one. But I'm like, right. But the Game Pass is lit. But again, this is not about Xbox. We'll dive into that when Xbox has their event, whenever that happens. I think there will be that event they're calling Xboxing Day, I think it's called. But they put some clever name on it. But back to Sony, here's my thing. The games that are fully exclusive to the console. Now, granted, all these games aren't coming out at the end of this year. These games are spread out. Some of them are releasing for holiday along with the console. And then most of them are spread out through 2021. I think there's some 2022 spread in there, but I'm like, why would you even show that? But I'm like, but out of like the 7 exclusive titles, I'm like, you haven't shown me anything new. You show me properties that exist already that I mostly don't care about. Of those 7, Gran Turismo, Horizon, Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, and Sackboy are all properties that are previous properties. Returnal looks good, and Astro's Playroom, again, that's a throwaway. That's another kid family platform bounce around thing. Okay, so I don't care. You're not buying a console for that. I don't even care if you're buying it for your kid. You're not buying it for that. You'd be buying it for Ratchet and Clank before that. So I'm like, okay, I sat through this whole event and I'm like, I see no reason to buy a PlayStation 5. Like when it drops. Granted, of course, second and third year down the line, now you're talking about a new God of War, all these other properties, they can start to roll those out. But I'm like, honestly, I'd rather just buy a discounted PS4 and play Ghost of Tsushima.
And that's
like
this would have served them so much better, and I still don't understand why they decided to push out Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 out onto the 4 in these summer release windows. When I get there's no really competition in summer, but to have those games previewed and debuted at this event on that console, right? That is something. Being Last of Us being the popular IP that it is, but then Ghost of Tsushima being as exciting as it looks. I would go buy it. I mean, I plan to, but
I told you this before, like a couple of episodes ago on our show, that Ghost of Tsushima should have fully been a PS5 game. I don't understand why they didn't just keep rolling it back and just be like, okay, this is a PS5 game. Like, there's no reason. Like, that game would have been banger. Like, if you show all this stuff and then you lead out with Spider-Man, all that stuff, and then you close out with Ghost of Tsushima, bro, that would have been lit. Like, Ghost of Tsushima is a reason you buy a console. Like, literally, that's a game, that's a system seller. So to waste it on the previous generation, to me just doesn't. That would be like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, in my head, I'm like, that should have been a PS5 title. Now, I understand Last of Us 2 because I guess it was supposed to be released earlier in the year anyway. So that was done. So that was already preordained. That was already PS4. It's supposed to be a PS4 game. So I understand with that. And reviews have been out for that. And that's been getting mostly 10s across the board, by the way, just in case nobody else has noticed.
As I expected.
Yeah, which is of no surprise to me. I played a little bit of the first one, but that's to be expected. But I'm like, their first party core games always hit hard in that fashion. They just always do. Which is why I need Microsoft to make sure Halo Infinite is back to Halo status. Because it kind of came off the rails a little bit, and it's you walk a dangerous line when your premium IP is.
You can die as a franchise. Yeah, like you said, a premium IP. That if Halo dies, Xbox died slowly.
Yeah,
It's one of those. It's one of those titles. One of those titles. Those benchmark titles.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm realizing now as well with all the family friendly games is being an older gamer, I don't take value in those games like like younger gamers do, but for our generation, specifically, you have Mario and Sonic, and those games drop.
Man, fuck Sonic. Sonic's trash. But anyway, go ahead, keep going. Unpopular opinion. Sonic's trash. Sonic is trash.
Because I definitely was a heavy Sega head as a kid, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Me too.
But
Sonic is still trash.
Those were the franchises that, like, when those drop, our generation looks like, oh, let me see what's going on over here. I'm assuming, Dash, with your generation, it's more like, I don't know, Crash Bandicoot maybe, or I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
I still had my big ass Sega fucking block, and I was still playing Sonic and some weird ass pinball game on that shit. I can't really remember, but then it turned into fucking hopping on Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, and obviously Mario. I almost called it Mario. Damn New York shit. And some, I guess, just those other small titles that you would find, and then the Dreamcast at one point when me and Ree was in Washington, and
yeah, that's right.
But that's about it though. But really, just Spyro the Dragons, Sonic. Sometimes I guess I don't really dive into it that crazy, but Mario, and then I guess that's the new generation that started to push out.
I watched.
My point with that was just mainly that those franchises are what pulls kids into the consoles,
right?
And without those franchises, I make jokes. I'm not gonna say I make jokes about Sackboy, and because they definitely could have thought of a better name. But anyway, about Sackboy and the and these newer titles that are coming out, and then them bringing Ratchet and Clank back into it. But these are the characters, the icons, so be it, that attach kids to the console and say, well, I only play this, and then they get older, and then they get attached to the more mature games. But it starts at this point.
They do, but it's like, to my only rebuttal to that is like, who are these kids that are they playing the PlayStation because their parent or older sibling has a PlayStation? Is that the cycle of things? Because kids is like, okay, here's this Switch, and you roll with that until you figure out how to navigate, and you can play one of these other consoles when you get a little older. But I'm like, also depends on your household. So my sons, there is no PlayStation in the house. I don't even think they know PlayStation. They don't even know what
PlayStation household.
They don't know what it is. They don't know that thing exists. They know Xbox and Switch. They don't know about no PlayStation. Zachary's going to be a whole Xbox gamer because he don't know damn nothing about no play. By the time he gets old enough to know anything about PlayStation, he might play and be like, well, I've been playing Xbox for 15 years. So
be one of those.
So PlayStation, I'm good on that. Like,
nah, but okay. So to your point, Cee, and I guess to both of y'all, given this new climate in YouTube and the media, and kids basically got YouTube in the palm of their hand as soon as they can actually process what's going on.
Yeah.
Those games, Sackboy, Little Big Planet, and all this other shit. That's
Snacks.
That's not what's popular now. That's not what's gonna be thrown in their face now. They're gonna get Fortnite too. They're gonna get some extra shit.
Minecraft Dungeon, Minecraft. And again,
Minecraft Dungeon
you can get on Sony, so you can get right.
Oh, by the way, Minecraft Dungeon, we might have to hop on that because it looks.
That game is lit. that game is POE for 10-year-olds.
Yeah,
that's dope.
That's what I'm gonna say about that.
But yeah, like, is this market of games for kids, is it in danger?
I mean, and that's why, in my opinion, which is why Microsoft has chosen a direction that's better for them in terms of that, because they don't need to have games that are clear cut. Like Ori and the Blind Forest is a game that appeals to adults, and it might appeal to kids just as long as they can navigate it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like games like that that walk a line to. Look, Ratchet and Clank, I'm sure they're great games. I remember playing them on PS2. I tried it a little bit. It's like, okay, this is cool, but this is not for me. I don't care. Like I don't care. Like I don't.
When I was on PlayStation 2, I was definitely playing the hell out of Ratchet and Clank. I think it might have been the first one.
Oh yeah, you absolutely were.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I was probably like what, 8, 9?
Yeah, but you grow out of that shit.
And you know what?
Yeah, definitely.
The thing that's different about the way these consoles are rolling out, the way we grew up is basically, the console came out with their launch titles, and then they rolled out, and then, they started rolling out games, and then basically what happened is the games would get better and better and better until it got to the point where technology was maximizing the capabilities of the console, and then the next console would drop. Well, what happened this generation was, these consoles got maxed out, and then they said, let's relaunch them with more processing power, with more memory in them. Let's make them more powerful and keep this generation going.
Right.
So I think we're probably going to see a jump, but not as big of a jump as we're used to.
We're not, and this is what I've been preaching. This is what I've talked about on some previous podcasts. I'm like, we've hit the ceiling. I don't care what anybody says. This is the ceiling. We're coming up on the ceiling, because the next thing is like ray tracing is going to be the huge thing. Ray tracing, 4K, that'll all be standard and all that stuff. But I'm like, after that, ray tracing is the ceiling for where we can go graphically. There is no more after that. I don't care what anybody. The next logical step is just to be seamless virtual reality, where you don't need to have 1,000 wires and shit connected. It'll be like the Matrix. You can just sit in one spot, put some shit on, and navigate a world. That's the next logical direction. But because graphics have hit their peak, we're not going to see a big jump like we used to. Like you said, we're not going to see a big jump like we used to see. You're not like going from, PS2 and Xbox to 360 and PS3. And then from there to PS4 and Xbox One. We saw big jumps with that. When you start talking about 1080p, 4K. Okay, we're not making any more big jumps.
I don't 8K now too.
And I don't care what people say about 8K. I can't imagine it gonna look terribly different from what 4K look like now. I don't care what nobody says or how they want to sell it. It's just, we're not making any more big jumps.
I want to screenshot you saying that.
Hey,
I need to have that moment right there.
That's okay. I mean, they could say it, and that's for me. I don't see a huge.
It's not gonna be though.
It might be. I don't.
But I agree with you.
I don't see a huge. Yes, there is a difference between 1080p and 4K, but for my money, I don't really see. It's not a big enough difference for me to care. If we're being honest, like
for that price, for sure.
Yeah, like sure, I got an Xbox One X and I'm capable of doing it, but I don't care, because here's why I don't care. Because for most games, the optimal screen size is like 24 inches. Because once you go bigger than that, you're playing a game on like 60-inch TV, you're gonna miss shit. You're not gonna be able to, especially if you're playing something like, I'll use Call of Duty as an example. There's shit that going on over here that once you start to widen out the screen, you won't be able to navigate it fast enough to know, okay, shit, there's some shit I can't see on the right-hand side of the screen because of a 60-inch TV, which is why a 24-inch screen is the ideal size to play those type of games on, because you see everything. I guarantee if you play the same game, game, let's say the same map on Call of Duty, the same mode with the same people, if you play it on repeat, if you play it on a 60-inch screen and you play it on a 24-inch screen, I guarantee your gameplay will be better on the 24-inch screen under the same conditions.
Absolutely.
Because you're gonna be able to see more, and you're gonna be able to see everything that's happening. You're not gonna miss anything. So which is also why I don't care about 4K, because you're not at those sizes. Shit like that's irrelevant. 1080p is barely relevant at that size. So 4K is absolutely not relevant at that size. 4K is only relevant once the TV gets bigger. 4K is relevant for like movies, right? And shit that you're playing, and maybe games that are like don't require that type. Maybe if you're playing shit like Spider-Man, right? Like that doesn't require that line of sight to be as important.
The resolution is not really a factor. The refresh rate's more important on the television.
Correct. Correct.
When you're talking about gaming, because that's that reaction time.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, as far as the games go for this PS5, I'll leave it on this note for me. I'll mention Deathloop real quick because I think that's dope, and Bethesda always kind of hits the mark. Deathloop, Deathloop is that, for the people out there that don't know, Deathloop is it's a game where you're stuck in a time loop with a group of assassins, yourself included, tasked with killing each other in a repeated fashion, stuck in this time loop. But all the characters have very unique personalities and looks to be like it's going to be very dope. So again, I don't see that being an exclusive title. Maybe timed at best. But again, it's Bethesda, so I can't even imagine that they would do that.
I imagine it being
I want to know what they're doing with Final Fantasy.
I imagine they're going to do a lot of Fallout 76 with this game.
Yeah.
a lot of microtransactions, a lot of
probably
grabby, greedy type. Greedy type.
I'm trying to see what they're doing with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, hopefully that remake makes its way onto Xbox One soon.
Well, from my understanding, what they did was they split the game up into
you're talking about? Yeah, I think it was at the moment we were looking at
like the end of disc one, basically.
At least 3 games at the moment.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that plays out. But again, my last point to these games are there's nothing for me. And I know there were a lot of people that were excited about this event. They watched it and like, oh man, I got goosebumps and I got chills. And I'm like, from what? But anyway, I don't understand. Yeah, Spider-Man was dope. That was a nice reveal and it looked great.
Yeah.
And Miles Morales is dope. But it was just a snooze fest after that. I'm sorry. Like, but there's nothing here that's like, oh, I need to go buy a PlayStation 5. And granted, I haven't seen anything yet that makes me feel that way about the Series X. I'm waiting to see what Halo Infinite looks like, obviously, but at the same time, the genius at Microsoft direction they're going, I don't have to upgrade right away to get access to Halo Infinite because I already have Game Pass and I can play it on my One X. So
they don't seem to care as much about that. Like, buy our console right now immediately as soon as it drops. Like,
they don't.
I think that the Series X is it's looking so far like it's going to be like, if you want to play this at its optimal level, buy this console here.
Correct. That's Microsoft's direction with the Series X. Like, Microsoft is about giving people options. They're like, okay, if you want to do this, we have this for you. If you want to keep playing on your previous console, fine. Just make sure you have Game Pass. You can still get access to all the games. Like, we have smart delivery. So, look, if you buy a game now and it's 8 months from now you want to upgrade to that Series X, you're not going to have to rebuy the game. Sony didn't talk about nothing about that. So they didn't mention any type of service yet, their smart delivery type service, whatever theirs might end up being. But they haven't mentioned anything about it. So they're still behind in that particular race.
Yep.
But Microsoft has something for you. Just like you said, they're like, yo, if you want it at optimal everything, come buy the Series X because you'll get full, obviously, I'm sure there'll be ray tracing and all that stuff. You'll have full 4K, all the frames per second, whatever, probably standard 30. Some games might do 60. We'll see. But we got you as far as that goes. But you don't have to. but it's there when you're ready for it. Like, I like that. Sony is very definitive in, no, you got to buy this console, otherwise you can't get shit over here. It's like, all right, damn, like,
you
like,
not playing it.
Sony's like, yo, buy this new console or we don't have shit for you. Oh, all right. Like, tell me how you really feel. Like,
how much it cost again?
Right. So as you say that, let's segue into the design of the hardware. I'll kick it off by saying I oh man. I think while the design of the console is very radical, I kind of like that. I will say that it has a very spacious, futuristic kind of look to it, right? Which at first glance, I was like, oh, this shit's kind of dope. I'm never gonna lie. It's against the grain. And me being kind of against the grain type of person, you know, generally speaking, when it comes to shit like that, I was like, oh, that's dope. I can respect that. I can respect both companies' designs for different reasons. But then I saw it laying down. And that kind of changed my perspective on things a little bit. Because if you haven't seen what it looks like laying down, it's not great. And at that point, it just looks like a failed science experiment. It's almost like, yo, you had a project due that you had 2 months to work on it, but you waited till the night before to do it. And then it was like, all right, this is what I got. What the fuck is that? Yo, D-. Like, you clearly didn't put any effort into this. Like,
y'all ever seen Wall-E?
Oh yeah.
Movie. It looks like Eve in Wall-E, the little character and with the lights and the fucking the white design and all of that. That's what it looks like to me.
And
100%.
And also, just so we're clear, if you don't have a lot of space clear out some space for this thing, because it's going to be huge. If you didn't think, especially if you plan on standing this thing up, I hope you got space on your top level of your entertainment center, because it ain't fitting on no bottom shelves.
Yeah. A decent comparison would say, like, prepare a little more space than you prepped for your original PS3.
Facts. The big one, the fat one.
The fat one.
PS3.
Which kind of blows my mind, because why would you put an SSD in something, and as compact as the SSD is, as compact as components are getting, like, why is the console this large at this point? Which, you know, I had my reservations about the Xbox when it came, but the dimensions of it, I'm like, okay, well, I can lay that down and I can find it. It's a cube,
right?
Or rectangular prism, if you want to be technical.
There you go, right?
It's a rectangular prism, and it'll fit somewhere. It's small enough to fit somewhere. And Xbox users, we're used to the original Xbox One, which, in our opinion, just based on every console we had before that, was huge in itself. But it's a more compact console, and it's wide. But, you know, you lay it down on the shelf on its side, and it looks very similar to a lot of the Xbox consoles that have already been previously released. But like you said, with the PS5, when you lay that down, bro, it looks like the back of a chair.
Shit got real hideous.
It's bro. And then the light on it, the light is cool, but it looks like it might be too much light. I'm hoping I don't really plan on getting it, but I hope for, you know, PlayStation users that they're able to toggle that light on and off, or maybe set. That would be cool if they had like a dim feature where you could change like the color of the light and all that. That would be like, all right, I'm kind of jealous of that.
Right. Right.
I think the Xbox might actually have a dim feature.
I think
so. With the green light on the top.
That's a light?
I believe so.
I thought That was just the color of the material.
I'm not sure.
So I gotta get a better look at it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
About this regular white light. I'm pretty sure it has a dim option.
Oh, on the current gen.
Oh, you talking about the logo itself?
The logo itself on the newest gen.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
It has a logo too, right? I'm not tripping.
I think so.
No.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, it does. And going back to what I mentioned before about the digital, so you got clearly got two SKUs announced. So
looks much better. I'll just put that in.
Yeah, because it's slimmer with taking out the disk drive, slimmed it up.
That disk drive looked like it was thrown on at the last minute.
That's clearly.
They're like, damn, we gotta put the games in.
Whoops, put that drive back in there.
Where you gonna put the games at? Let me just.
Yeah,
right.
So, somebody definitely took a knife and was like, there you go.
I got some words for this. Now, first of all, full disclosure, I like to see it, so I'm glad. It's cool that they did it.
I agree.
And the offshoot to that though is everybody was like, "Oh, this was great by Sony." This is not to dip too far to go too far left here, but this is kind of like the Apple thing, right? So Sony did it, and it's almost like Microsoft didn't do it. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is great. They're getting the digital thing," and somebody said it was. I heard somebody say it was something like unprecedented or revolutionary. I was like, "Yo, Microsoft just did this a couple of years ago."
Like a year ago, bro.
I don't understand. Like Microsoft does it, and it was like, "Oh, that's stupid." And then Sony does it. They showed two SKUs, and they're like, "Oh, this is great. This is Apple all over again. This is the same shit." So, and their consumers are like, "Oh yeah, this is brand new." Like, bro, other phones have been doing this for 3 years. What are you talking about? So I'm just like, I like it, but at the same time, again, the consumers are fucking it up. Cause I'm like, this is not new, bro. Like, I don't understand. Like, yeah, this is great, but what you were bashing Microsoft for, of course, now you're praising Sony for doing, right?
Yeah.
So
they were like, you can't even put a game in. And, oh man. And now it's like, oh, it's 100% digital.
Right.
My favorite one was yo, how we gonna share? I can't even share a game with my friend. And, yo, who is giving their friends discs anymore?
Your friend, because there's a 90% chance that your friend lives like on the other side of the damn country, and you don't even ever see that motherfucker anymore.
So, hang out with neighbors no more.
Right. The days of your friend that lived around the corner or across the street and y'all were swapping games, that shit is
done.
As adults, that doesn't exist anymore.
Just pony that cash up, bro.
That doesn't exist anymore. The best you could do, again, if you Microsoft, you're an Xbox gamer, you can game share with one person. That's the best they got for you. But that's a lot. I ain't gonna lie. Like, that's a huge deal that people just continuously kind of gloss over and have forgotten about. But that's a thing where it's like you can share games with somebody. Like, yo, somebody else was like, yo, man, I bought such and such. You can download it and play it if you want. Like, oh, all right, cool. Like, I wasn't thinking about buying that or playing it, but all right. You can go half on the shit. It's a dope thing that nobody. It's like hides under the radar of shit that's just there. The shit that Microsoft does that they don't even like brag about it. Microsoft is just like, yeah, we do that. Like, they don't even have to throw it in anybody's face. Like,
they're doing so much at this point. I'm just super excited for Project xCloud to fully roll out.
Yo, here's the thing about Project xCloud, and I was telling Courtney this not too long ago, but the thing about Project xCloud that I completely forgot about is that while it's in beta status now, they have games in there, and I've went over what games they have in the program.
Yeah.
But that's not the end game, right? The end game, and I completely forgot about this. The end game for Project xCloud is for it to access whatever games you've purchased digitally and Game Pass.
Yeah.
What? So you mean to tell me that whatever games you've bought, and again, this is not new news, it's just news that I've remembered.
Yeah.
It's just like, or was reminded of. You can take whatever you bought digitally, whatever you have access to in Game Pass, and just play it on your phone, wherever, on your tablet or your laptop.
They basically looked at what Stadia
like
did and was like, yeah, we're just gonna make that part of what we do.
Right. Well, like but that was something,
worrying about buying this because
that was something they
do that and more.
Right. They had been working on that, and the Stadia came out, and they were like, it's like somebody doing, like, you working in a cubicle, and somebody was like doing something on the side. He's like, oh, let me check to make sure. Oh, that ain't about shit. I'll just go back to what I was doing. Like that's what Microsoft did when Stadia came out. Like, they popped their head up to make sure, like, oh no, y'all ain't doing shit.
Basically.
Because what they doing is way better. So I'm like, and that's the thing I've been and that's one of the things that I talk about is like where Sony and Microsoft are headed in different directions, because Sony's got nothing for that. They're not doing anything like that. Sony doesn't care about cloud gaming. They don't care about game sharing. They don't care about the PS Now is trash. That's not even, you can't even compare that to Game Pass. It just happens. It just happens to be a service that's similar to Game Pass. It's not
right. I've never heard anyone brag about that, so
because it's trash.
And everybody tells me, all everybody I know that they're PS users, and they well, you get a lot of indie games and older games, and I'm like, dude, like some of these games for Xbox, like they launch on Game Pass.
Right. First party, they were like, yo, first party titles are just on there. Like people, Forza came out, Forza going straight to Game Pass. Gears of War 5, straight to Game Pass. Halo Infinite, which is a fucking A+ title for the damn console, straight to Game Pass. You got Game Pass, or you got Halo Infinite. No questions asked. You just have that shit. And oh, by the way, if everything goes live at the same time and xCloud, whatever it ends up being named, if that ends up being the name, goes live at the same time, then you just playing fucking Halo Infinite on your phone, just wherever.
Yo, quick pause. Speaking of Halo Infinite, there were some rumors, a lot of speculation going on in that community. And I think Halo Infinite, given that it doesn't have the title of like Halo 6, right? Could very well be an open world co-op Destiny style Halo, where you're shooting, you're looting, you're getting gear, there's different classes, subclasses. Given that we have literally seen nothing and known or heard anything, and usually we have by now. And I don't know if it's a COVID or a COVID-19 thing.
It might be.
But that's a lot of wide speculation. And it could be far out right or left, but I think it's possible.
I mean,
I think it's doable. I don't think it would be a bad game. I'm not sure how it would necessarily be received, but I'm curious.
Yeah, it could be. Here's the thing. I think that while that speculation could be true, because then that could leave room for you to in the heart of your drive of that second or third year of the console, you can put a numbered game, Halo 6. Here's the problem with that. I think that Halo Infinite has to be the redeem Halo game, because Halo 5 Guardians was kind of like wasn't
so why
it missed the beat.
So you don't think taking this risk could be that?
That's risky, because this game has to bring the franchise back to prominence. So I think bringing the franchise back to prominence means bringing it back to its roots. Halo 2, Halo 3 multiplayer experience. It has to captivate the world where people are jealous that they don't have an Xbox to play Halo. It's got to be.
But is that going to captivate the world? is a Halo 2 multiplayer experience going to captivate the world today?
I mean, I think it would.
Today to the realm, because I mean we got Halo 2 Master Chief remastered or whatever, and I'm pretty sure multiplayer is running up on that.
Yeah, but I just mean it has to be in that vein. It has to be, it has to link, it has to come from those roots. Very much how it, Streets of Rage 4, I'll use an example, like that game is dope as shit. It has, but it's new and it has new elements, but it's tied to the roots of the original of Streets of Rage 2, which was the best Streets of Rage game. So like it's tied to those roots of that game, but dolled up for a new generation. I think that's kind of the direction Infinite has to go to be its most success. Halo was always its most successful when people were playing the multiplayer like wildfire and enjoying it. Like that was when Halo was on top of the multiplayer world. Like nothing could touch Halo until Call of Duty got Steam. But Halo was untouchable in the multiplayer verse. Like nobody had anything for Halo. And then
the last couple of games, and then
right, and then like pretty much like
between Reach and Guardians, and
Reach was good, but 4 I think started a trend in the direction the direction that they didn't want to go, and Halo 5 Guardians was kind of like it wasn't what it was. It was
like, okay, another Halo game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think. But
just outside of graphics, like what takes Halo to the next step? And I know we got off track here, but I
think what you suggested is the next thing.
I see if they just bring a Halo 6 out and they got all these revamped graphics, all this, they get a really decent plot, cool, got it. You drop them in some multiplayer maps that are fun, but like that can't just be it for Halo. This Halo Infinite, it can't. Yeah. If you want to be to re-put it on this pedestal, Destiny, as shitty as it did end up getting for some time, that game is still thriving for some reason and has gotten better. Not to say that they need to take that route, but even if they went to the Halo co-op Destiny style through the multiplayer story-ish aspect, and then you drop them in a Crucible type scenario where there's a multiplayer space and you can play your multiplayer on these different maps in these different areas and still have that multiplayer element, and it still be Halo when you play multiplayer, but it be your character that you build and it's not necessarily Master Chief. Because I'm thinking about all the images and the graphics of the trailers, like you see, they got.
They're likely if they're gonna want to expand and make this game.
Helmet's all up in his hand, like Master Chief chilling with his helmet off. Like I don't think so. I really think this might be a new age of we're approaching right now.
Yeah, Master Chief can't take off the helmet.
That's what I'm saying. So no Master Chief not taking off his helmet, so that can't be Master Chief. Unless something wild is going on, which I guess could be the big whoop-de-doo of Halo Infinite, but I think it's something bigger.
I don't know. I think the longer Microsoft holds this to the chest, they might be better off, because now there's this speculation and we're starting to ask these questions because it's coming, and it's coming with the console, and but nobody knows anything. We don't have any. Should we even get like a real? I mean, you barely got a teaser trailer.
Barely.
But
to also put it on Game Pass, you got all of these people who have Microsoft consoles on that thing for free for an open world Halo co-op at launch. Everybody at least gonna start it up.
Yeah. I think that could work if you still included a traditional multiplayer experience.
I think it will be. because Destiny still had a very, I would say, a pretty traditional multiplayer, I guess, for what it was.
Right. That traditional Halo multiplayer experience, I think, still has to be there if you do it that way alongside that.
Yeah. I think that might be where it's headed. I'm hoping so. That'd be really exciting.
I mean, it would be different. I mean, it's just Halo's always proud of themselves on the story. Halo's one of the only games where I made sure to play through the story of the game. Like that was like a primary thing before you jumped on any multiplayer or anything. It was like, let me see how the story plays out, because that's what I'm here for. Like I'm here for Master Chief's like adventure, except for Reach, but Reach was a great story in and of itself. So you play through that because of that amazing story, and then you jump into multiplayer. But I don't know. We'll see. It should be interesting, to say the least.
Now, I'll tell you, I really wasn't paying a lot of attention to what they were going to be doing as far as launch of Halo. I'm going to, just after this conversation, I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on that.
Yeah.
Halo is one of those games that like definitely kept you on Microsoft and kept you with the Xbox. So it would be nice for it to continue to do that.
Absolutely. 100% agree. So before we close this out, I wanted to mention one more thing about the 2 SKUs on this PS5. I think Sony knows what the price is, which is why they gave us 2 consoles.
Yeah.
They know damn well what the price is, and they gave us 2 consoles because that standard console is about to be
it's pretty
through the roof price-wise. So to soften the blow of that, I think this was just a ploy for them to soften the blow of what the price is going to be on their main console. Which is, well, what do y'all think the price is looking like on that?
So quick question, not to extend this portion of the conversation, but what happens to GameStop?
It depends on, well,
because it was like Xbox users kind of faded out of GameStop because a lot of us went digital, and then it was kind of okay. It was Nintendo and Sony, but now Sony's like, yeah, next gen we're gonna start going digital. So it's like, what happens?
I think GameStop has one more generation left.
They got to figure something out.
Of
they got
consoles,
like a retro gaming store or something.
Yeah,
I think GameStop subscription. I think GameStop has an opportunity to change their model to be more like a Starbucks,
like a gaming
lounge. Correct. And that's something that if they were going to go that route, should have started like, I don't know, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a smart business model to evolve into. Because really, there's a lot of people that really stopped going to GameStop to buy games. They were still just going just to hang out. That's why I started going to game stores in the first place. I wasn't buying shit. I was just going to hang out and talk games.
Video games.
Like,
because who else we were doing that before like online gaming got huge and popular. So it was like, who else were you going to talk video games with besides the people that play video games? That's how you found the video games in the store.
Right. So just like Starbucks has a model, like GameStop could have employed that same model where changed their whole model where you can still buy games. You could, the less physical games that there are to sell, then you start selling more, digital stuff. You start selling digital cards. So, the digital versions of those games, you sell those cards to people because you can do that. Everybody else does it. So they do it. So do that, transition more of that.
And collectibles, of course.
Right. Change up the model of the store where you can wipe out half of the shit that's in it, get rid of all that pre-owned crap because you're not going to need most of that anymore. Once you definitively decide you want to change your model, throw some lounge, throw some couches in there. Again, very Starbucks, some tables, chairs where people can just chill, hang out. You set up consoles
Man,
where
outlet, surge protectors everywhere.
Wi-Fi. You set up free Wi-Fi. You set up consoles where people can have, play games against each other. You set up like weekly like tournaments.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why this is such a hard thing to just.
Man, even Blockbuster
like,
was doing tournaments.
Like I don't understand why
Blockbuster was doing tournaments.
Like this is not a hard thing. As a gamer, I don't understand why this is like. This seems like such a natural thing that GameStop should have been able to figure out and just
they've been making so much money ripping people off on trades and then pre-owned.
Yeah.
Money on selling pre-owned games because pre-owned games is pure profit for them.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So that's where their bread and butter was, and they thought moving into the collectibles was going to be what their next jump was.
Yeah,
and that's cool and all, but you can buy collectibles on Amazon.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do I have? It has to be what do I GameStop to get only,
right.
And I can only get it from GameStop. And right now, there's nothing. You can get the games. I can sit naked in my bedroom and buy all my games on Xbox. Yeah. As a matter of fact, if I need a new controller or a new accessory, I can buy that on the console and it gets shipped to open up my phone.
Yeah.
Let alone,
Very true.
So, when it comes to that, and then the collectibles are on Amazon. If you want the special edition for stuff, that's also on Amazon. None of that is GameStop exclusive.
Right.
So at the end of the day, all you have is the experience, and it's like enhance the experience for the gamer, so they feel the need to come in. But they're just, I think they're just feeling comfortable with dying slowly.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess clearly because 5 years ago, when faced with the probability of their own mortality, they just decided we're going to sell cell phones and stuff now. Like, okay, well, I don't think that's...
Xbox dropped the hint that they were going to potentially drop the console without a disc. I was like, yo.
Yeah, that would have been it for GameStop.
Should have been like, yo, we got to do something now.
Right. And again, that should have been such a seamless thing to do because you could have kept this thing going because what better way to have local gamers meet each other? Because you only know but so many people online, right? You have your group of people that you know from either high school or their family, or they're a couple of friends you made from work along your work career. And that's the people that you know online. And then unless they're online, you're like, I don't really feel like playing fucking Rainbow Six Siege, which I need people online to play with to enjoy myself at all, or Overwatch, shit like that. So I'm like, this is an opportunity that GameStop could have had to say, okay, we are now the hubs for local gamers. Very much how like comic book shops and shit like that. Fuck, again, Starbucks is the hub for coffee drinkers. Motherfuckers just go there and you just can meet people. What do y'all have in common? Y'all drink coffee. Like, hey man, what's up? Like, hey, how you doing? Like, I drink coffee too. Like, what's up?
You having Starbucks, Rick?
How many shots of espresso you got in yours? Like that's.
I used to go.
Like, yo.
And yeah, you go, you break out your laptop, you chill, you get you a nice little beverage. It's quiet in there. It's a decent atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's like GameStop could have did that for gamers. GameStop
could have been exactly that because guess what? Under that same branch, it would have worked out so much better because guess what? You go into GameStop, you chilling. Let's say it's redesigned at this point, and it's very much how Starbucks is. So you go in there, you're chilling, you talking, you shooting the shit with people that work there, whatever. You whip by, you're playing a game or whatever. Somebody comes in, oh man, it looks dope. I play with you. Yeah, cool. Let's play. Yo, man, what's your gamer tag? What's your PSN name? Like whatever. Because mind you, this next generation that we heading into, everything's going to be crossplay. Because if you're not doing crossplay, you're going to be laughed out the door. So as a developer and publisher,
they could have easily tied that membership into the Power Up Rewards memberships and then selling more Power Up Rewards memberships.
Right. Like,
and that's pure profit. Like they do nothing except for take, $1 or $2 off the pre-owned games, and you get the magazine. And it's like, who the hell is reading the magazine anyway?
Nobody. Mine's now digital, and I'm definitely not reading it.
Articles. Bro, those magazines end up on top of the back of my toilet.
You should just start stacking up.
That's it. And then I thumb through them, and then I get yelled at when there's too many of them. I throw them away, and I start over again. And that's basically what my $15 a year goes to.
And now it's funny because they charge you less if you get the digital now. So it's less for the subscriptions you get the digital. And you know the digital, I'm not looking at that at all.
I would easily transition from $15 a year to $40 a year if I knew that I had to swipe that card to walk into the store and be able to just chill.
That would be dope. Now you're talking. See, that's smart business. That's a matter of fact.
I can play video games. I can chill. I can get work done.
Matter of fact, fuck GameStop. We should just start that shit up for ourselves.
Yo, hold on. Cut the recording off now.
Get that
shit. Off topic.
Did we just become best friends?
Yo,
I'm with it.
It's a new sports game and anonymous business model coming to you soon.
Yeah, I don't know if we can keep that in there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut that out, bro. So yeah, definitely cut. Damn, bro.
But back on topic. PS5.
Look, what do y'all think? What do y'all think the price is gonna be of the core PS5 console?
The disc one,
the
right?
disc in.
$599.
How much?
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly the price point.
$599.
$599.
And then bundles will be $650 with games.
Correct.
That sounds about right. Which means the digital is what?
$5.
I heard a lot of people saying $4. They were saying $600 and $400. Because and I'll tell you and I'll tell you the concept behind that. The concept behind that is that they would eat the loss on that digital version because they get to see all the residual on the digital purchases. So if they get people to buy the digital console for so much less, yeah, they might have to eat the cost up front, but you getting people are going to have to subscribe to that. They have to subscribe. They're going to have to subscribe to that PlayStation Now, and they're going to have to buy all their games digitally directly from Sony.
Yep.
So it's basically $500 at the end of the day anyway. For new guys anyway, for new console owners.
Yeah, sure. You know, so
$400 is so low.
It is low.
Don't see it.
But that could be a thought if they're thinking about the long term, which is that they're going to keep if you're buying a digital console, you have no other way to buy your games than to buy them from the Sony directly.
Okay, so I can see it being $400,
and that's pure and that's pure
and controller,
and that's pure profit for Sony because you got to remember if people go buy their game in the store, Sony only sees a piece of that. So if they buy it from the PlayStation Store, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't necessarily think it'll be $400, but I could see how that would make sense for them to eat that upfront cost to gain so much more on the back end.
But I see them just doing it for $500 and working under the same concept.
Yeah, they could do that, but I feel like $500 it might be too close in price, like to the core model.
I'm starting to feel like Microsoft and Sony are both like holding their cards, trying to see.
That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what's happening.
We definitely pre-orders. I feel like would have started rolling out right around this time.
We're not. We're not. You can mark it right now. We're not getting any reveal information until probably the beginning of August.
Yeah, I was gonna say mid-July, end of July.
Yeah, like that'll be when we get everybody's. That'll be the time frame where we get all the date and prices.
I can make a.
Because it can't be any later than that.
I can make a sell on that $400 if the $600 price point is the PS5 that has the terabyte or the terabyte.
Well, that's another thing too. You got to consider the size.
I forgot about
the memory shit. Now we're talking 600. 600 might be base.
Yeah.
They might also have a $700 model. I mean,
no parts of that.
I think they go down before they go up. So I think they go. We got a 500 gig model out for 400 with digital only.
Yeah, like that's what I would say. If it would be $400, it's gonna be a 500 gigabyte all digital.
Yeah.
All you get is a controller.
Yeah.
No app.
But they still win. They still make more money on that console.
Man, especially if they try to bundle that headset in with the console.
Or
that's
that
what
camera,
I think they're gonna do.
That camera.
They can justify 600 with a terabyte system, with one or even a 2 terabyte console. With they already announced the specs, so there's no 2 terabyte console. But if they do the 1 terabyte console with the disc on it, they give you a control. Obviously, you got to get a controller with it, but then they include the headset with the controller as well. That will justify a $600.
Or the camera, because they're gonna try to slip.
They can do the camera. They might not do the headset, but they could do the camera.
I think they watched Xbox flop on Kinect.
Clearly not, because they toted that camera. They toted that camera in that reveal event like it was hot shit. So
yeah, basically the Kinect, but like micros, a micro Kinect.
Right.
So
they clearly got confidence in that shit.
Do you think Xbox is gonna have a camera?
No.
Yeah, I think
they're done with that.
There was no way they could even sneak that in the door. People after Connect, there's no way they can sneak any camera in anywhere. They'd be like, they couldn't even hide that on the back. They couldn't even hide that on the back shelf 3 months after release. They'd be like, there's this camera we got too.
Killed that, man. Bro, what killed that is I have a friend on Xbox whose gamer tag is Xbox is off. So sometimes you're playing the game and somebody says Xbox is off because everybody uses their gamer tags to identify each other, and boom, your console's off in the middle of the damn game.
Oh my God.
That right there kills Connect.
That is terrible.
That kills Connect.
Oh my God. Although I will say that was the only thing I liked about the Kinect, was to be able to walk into your apartment, Xbox on, and then shit would just turn on. The TV would turn on too, like
that was fire.
It felt like the future.
or no lie, Xbox record that was a huge thing too.
Oh,
and honestly, that would be more of a thing now than it was then. Because now I gotta hit the fucking, I go to the guide and then press the other thing because I want to record a certain time frame. I don't want, because lately if I just hit the thing where it says record what happened, it wasn't. It was recording like 9 seconds of shit. I'm like, that's fucking not enough. So I gotta go to the menu and then go to the capture option, and then click how many set, if I want to do a minute, 45 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. I would trade all that to just say Xbox record that again. Like,
I think you might be able to do that with the Google Assistant now.
Maybe. I think
because the Google Assistant enables a lot of the same features that the Kinect did by voice.
I'm sure you can, but
I need that bitch to be native, though. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I need this shit to be integrated as part of the fucking infrastructure. I don't want it to be linked to an application in the shit. Like, no, I need that shit to be part of it. Like, I need to be able to talk into my headset like Xbox record that, please. Xbox record last 45 seconds. Like, I need to be able to do that. Like, let me get that.
Or just capture card and just record everything. And
then I could do that too, but that's a lot of work, especially if you're playing a fighting game and you sitting and waiting around for a match for 2 minutes, and then the match is over, and then you sit around wait for another 3 minutes. And that's just that's a lot of video to scrub through after the fact. I'm good on that.
You hit record on the app on your computer when you're ready to go, and then you just tap it again when you're ready to stop.
Oh man, that's a lot of work.
I ain't nothing like that voice come in, man. That voice
too many steps for me, man. Xbox record last 1 minute.
You click your little wireless mouse and you good. Boom, it's recorded.
Or
boom, it's not.
Xbox record last 30 seconds. I feel like that's so much faster.
Maybe. Maybe.
It's weird because it's like, it's kind of lazy, but at the same time, it's so weird. It's so capable. The tech is so capable of it. It's like, just give me that shit.
Right.
Just give me that shit.
Again, they had it, and they're just fucked up, and they're scared to like go back into it. But they had it. They had those core things that worked. It just needed to not be that camera shit. I just need the voice part. The voice part was great. The camera part was trash. I just need them to go back to the voice part, because that's what's important. And I think on the Slick, that's what Sony's, because they have that speaker, they have that mic integrated into the controller, which I think would be a good play to utilize a feature like that. But again, of course, you could just use your headset for that. But I digress. I think I think you should be able to push a button on your controller.
I feel like PlayStation controller has that.
I think so. A capture button. I think I would like. They had one. I think they got rid of it to a new button. They've changed it. They had
it was like a share button before, right?
And they changed it to something else now. They've modified it somehow. But I just want to be able to press that button and talk into my mic and say Xbox record last 30 seconds, and just do that. Like, I don't want to jump through hoops. I don't want to have to go through 2 menus to record. That's the only downfall I have that's the only negative I have about my Xbox, is that I have to do 2 steps to get to recording the fucking amount of time that I want to record from the gameplay that I just did. Like, a lot of times you forget when that stuff happens too. Like, you playing, especially, I play a lot of Madden. You playing Madden, and you got a crazy play that happened, and then you just keep playing the game, and you're like, damn, I should have recorded that. Later on in the game, you're like, whoa, that shit was crazy.
Like every game.
Right.
Yep. And in a fighting game, I can imagine even more so, just because it just keeps moving so much. Yeah. And it's not like
fighting games.
Menu, you got to do that after the fact, and then who's really even thinking of it after the fact? Especially like, you just want to say. I get where you coming from. You kind of just want to say record that shit. And fighting games is easier, and I only remember because when you're playing games against people online, you have time in between matches. Like, there's enough latency, there's enough like buffering and enough time where you're like, oh yeah, let me make sure I record like the last minute just to make sure I got all the gameplay I wanted from that last match. Like, even if you're doing a rematch, you have enough time to do it, which I appreciate with a fighting game. But like you said, something like Madden, especially if you're playing against somebody, it's hard because you can't waste a pause for that. Like, so it's like it's a tough like middle ground to like navigate. So
that's a fact.
And Madden, a lot of times the stuff happens mid game, and then you move on to the next play, and then you try to record, but you don't want to lose your step or lose your place in what's going on. The play clock is rolling. You're not trying to stay on top. You try to stay on top of the game. You're not really so much as worried about recording and making sure that you have it captured. So the voice command definitely should be a priority.
Yeah, shooting games even worse, because shooting stuff like Call of Duty, especially if you die, that's one thing. But if you want to streak and you getting kills and you racking up kills, you're not about to menu in the middle of a kill streak. Like, you're not about, if you die, you'll be like, all right, fuck it, let me just.
But I'll tell you this, man, because I went in the minute. I adjusted mine on my console to when you hit the Xbox button twice and then you hit X or Y, depending if you want a screenshot or the video record. I adjusted mine to record the previous 2 minutes.
Yeah,
but I find that I did that on Warzone. I did that, and then on Warzone it only recorded like 12 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what happened to me recently. Like, I tried to record stuff, and it was like 9 seconds. I was like
space issue.
Huh? Nah.
Not like in your
Not
hard
the
drive,
slightest.
not in your hard drive, but in
You
the
in the
capacity
recordings.
that the capacity
Yeah, like
storage.
a lot of amount of space for your. I periodically go in and I actively will delete my because I do a lot of recordings. I actively go back into the console and I delete a lot of stuff. But you get sometimes and and I specifically mention on Warzone because it's been my only experience
Yeah,
that you hit record and you're like, oh man, that was hype. We got dubs on that one,
that
and the
happened to
last
me
kill
too.
was crazy looking, and then you go back to the recording and it's just y'all celebrating because they
Yeah,
only recorded the last
yeah,
one.
that happened to me
And you're
on
like, yo, I
Call of
hate
Duty
playing.
also.
Yep.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just a Call of Duty thing and Xbox
maybe.
is fine.
Might
I'm
be
gonna
'cause I'm
assume that because shit every week and adding another 20 gigs on my console anyway. So
Man, fuck Call of
I'm
Duty. But
gonna assume
anyway.
it's facts.
So yeah. Before we close it out, any predictions on date for either consoles, PlayStation or Microsoft?
November
Endure
for
flop of course.
November for PlayStation. I
Early,
think
mid, late?
probably before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got to before Black Friday. It's got to.
Black Friday. So I'm thinking like November 11th ish.
I think
Frame.
I'm about 90% confident Microsoft goes before Sony.
Yeah, I was thinking Microsoft is gonna land probably either mid to late October.
Cause I think they've put their foot in the ground on this. Like they showed their console first. I think they're very definitive this next generation to have the strongest console, to put it out there first, to get it in front of, to be cheaper and be more powerful. I think they're trying to check off all of these boxes. And again, at the same time, not really force you to buy the console at the same time, but they want to offer the best for less
I'm about to
earlier.
say, and to that, I will say, I think that given that that they have smart delivery and all of these
And
things,
smart delivery is a huge thing, which is
it
why,
would it would give you more reason to release it before the PlayStation.
right?
Yeah.
Because they're not pressing people to buy the console. They're like, well, if you buy games now, you're not asked out.
Nope. Halo Infinite will be available on all of our shit, not
Day one,
just our next gen console. So.
right? Well, that has been our Sony reveal event coverage plus other stuff, Microsoft stuff. Yeah, a lot of anonymous territory, but a lot of Microsoft stuff in there as well, mixed in. So hopefully, we get some information soon. Like I said, my opinion is that we will get information maybe early August, in that late July range of time. Microsoft got some events coming up, and again, IGN has been working on their whole summer of gaming event stuff. So, we might see some more game information coming soon, and it's still exciting. Even with the state of the world being what it is, games are still exciting, and we still got new consoles coming, and that's not going to change at this point. So, save up now. Save up now for your console of choice, because nobody's buying both. Nobody does. I don't think anybody ever really does that right out the gate. Like, you buy one and you're like, I'll get the other one some other time. A year and a half from now. Like,
even the people that definitely have both would, there's gonna be some months in between them.
Yeah. You start with one and then you work your way up to the other one eventually, for whatever reason, or you don't, because Sony people don't ever buy Xbox ever. They don't cross over like that. They're very narrow-minded.
Bang, bang.
I'm at least, and again, as much as Sony bashing as I do, I will never not say I won't play it or I won't think about getting it, because I will. It's not my first console of choice, but of course I'm gonna buy. I'll get my Xbox when I get it, and then eventually, I'll catch a deal and check out the PlayStation. But because I am a gamer, I want to play everything, at least try everything. In my opinion, Sony fanboys are very narrow-minded. They just checking for PlayStation and nothing else. To them, nothing else even exists. They just live in their Sony bubble.
They talk shit about Halo, never even touched it.
Right. They live in their little bubble, and that's it. Like, it is what it is. So that has been another episode of the Flash and Dash podcast. Thank you for joining us another week. Thank you, Cee, for featuring this week and joining us. Talk about all this fun stuff in gaming. And get that trash out of here.
I gotta put the timestamp on what we're doing right now.
So anyway, he's gonna do what he's doing. Appreciate y'all and appreciate y'all for joining us. Oh Lord. Have fun gaming.
Don't forget to practice social distancing still.
Correct. Be safe.
COVID is still a thing.
Don't pretend like it isn't. Just because, your governors have decided to go through these phase 1 and 2 openings and crap. That doesn't mean it's open season. Okay? Just be safe. And again, this is now a thing forever. Social distancing and face masks to protect other people is now a thing. So
we have become China.
Exactly. Just accept it and understand that that's our new reality. So again, be safe. Watch out for yourself and your loved ones. And again, thank you for joining us. And we will catch y'all next week. Thank you. Peace.